How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Escape from New York Volume 1. This has the subtitle of Escape from Florida, and this is from Boom Studios. It's a graphic novel. And for those of you who know, for those of you who followed along with this channel, you would know, Boom Studios made the Big Trouble in Little China comics, and I've been reading and reviewing those on this channel's comic book section, and I thought they were pretty fun, a little cartoony, and not everyone appreciated that. But when I found out that the same studio had adapted another John Carpenter movie into comics, this time Escape from New York, another Kurt Russell one, I thought that was really fun, and I was really wanting to check it out, and I finally got my chance to pick up Escape from New York Volume 1. The names, Pliskin, you get all this text in the blood, and this is actually the first issue cover they used on the back here. And as you can see at the bottom, Boom Studios, $14.99 US. You see, this only has 4 issues in it as opposed to 6, which is relatively standard, but you're seeing more and more 4-issue stuff, especially with smaller studios. But what I do like is they kept the price proportional. This is only $14.99 US, so it's a little cheaper, but that's because it's a little shorter. Anyway, you open it up, you get Escape from New York, Escape from Florida. Florida there with lines radiating out of it with the credits and the Boom Studios logo. And then Escape from New York, the major credits, and I always like to at least glance at these. Written by Christopher Sebela, artist is Diego Barreto, colorist Marissa Louise, letterer Ed Dukeshire, the cover designer and editor credits, and then special thanks to John Carpenter. Now, if you followed the Big Trouble in Little China comics, you know that he, for the first 3 volumes, actually got a story credit. He helped come up with the story for the Big Trouble in Little China comics. Not as involved in the Escape from New York comics, but it is cool to see him get a shout out. You also get this divided snake image, which is a real historical image talking about how if the states divide, they can't all live by themselves, which is appropriate to the story. You'll find out in a minute. I'm going to be covering, no spoilers, but I'm going to be covering a little bit of the plot. I mean, I don't want to do spoilers, but I do want you guys to have an idea about what this volume's about. And with that being said, let's just jump right in. There's the issue 1 cover A, the really cool cover there. And oh, you guys got turned a little bit. Alright, much like the Big Trouble in Little China comics, this one begins right at the ending of the movie. Now, which movie, you might ask? This actually begins at the end of Escape from New York. So all this is happening before Escape from LA. So these comics kind of come between the movies, and I haven't read the later ones yet, so we'll see how much they bridge the gap. But anyway, it actually starts before the end of Escape from New York. You see the president giving the speech, playing the music, and Snake ripping up the tape. Now, when we get into the new stuff, we see the president has revoked his pardon for Snake. Snake knocks this guy out of his Jeep, and you begin a chase sequence. At first with starts off where he's chasing these Jeeps, but he eventually gets into a low-flying helicopter, and it turns into a helicopter chase, which eventually ends in a crash. And in the crash, they kind of think, okay, Snake might be dead. And I do love this soldier. They're like, hey, you think he's dead? Probably. I don't get paid enough to care. And he also says that he doesn't have any beef with Snake, so he's not going to try too hard. And I really like that excuse. You know, in this world, everyone kind of knows who Snake is. And they're like, yeah, I don't care. Snake can do what he wants. So after that, he starts hitchhiking just to get as far away as possible, and eventually he hitchhikes with probably the wrong people. You see, these guys are kind of in a cult. He finds out that even though the U.S. government hasn't really acknowledged it, the state of Florida has decided to succeed from the U.S. They're broken off, and they declare themselves an independent government. And there's these two twins, Romulus and Remus, that are their leader, and they think they might have special mystical powers, and a lot of people are basically worshiping these two twins. So these cultists are going to Florida, and Snake tags along for a bit, basically because he has no other place to go, although he doesn't really want to join this group of people. But of course, circumstances, he becomes more and more on the run, and eventually he does make it to the Florida border wall. And fun little bit of implied history here. Well, first, all these abandoned cars, that's pretty cool as they get to the wall. But then you see the wall is the USS Indianapolis, destroyed and repurposed as the border wall. So it's all taken down there. And he gets in, and he has to go through their immigration process to see if he's tough enough to survive in Florida. And of course, he decides that he doesn't really want to face the standard immigration process. He's just going to blast his way through the whole thing. Now, of course, that does get him in a bit of trouble, surrounded by the police, but he does meet the twins, and you find out they're actually pretty young. I think they're supposed to be like 13, and it's a group of people that have given these two people that are way too young for it way too much power, and you get to see what that unchecked power is like. There's rumors that Florida is the last true place someone can really be free, but of course those rumors aren't 100% true. They like to believe they're really free, but these twins really do actually run a pretty tight control over people, so there is quite a bit of hypocrisy in that area. You do also get to meet the twins' adoptive mother, this lady who they call Meemaw, and this lady is kind of a fanatic, and she's partially responsible for giving these twins way too much power and the life that they set out on. So yeah, it's a kind of a different plot for the Escape from New York series, but it's interesting enough, and the plot from there does go to a whole bunch of different places. Starting out, you get a cool section where Snake is trapped in this prison underwater that he has to get out of, and it's made out of 4 submarines welded together. You also get a section where you get to see what the Resistance lives like. You get to see in this other section what the Army's like, and there's another section where you get to see what the twins' home life is like. And it's a really cool, big world-building plot. And that's one thing with this, I guess, get right into the overalls. This really does help expand the feeling of what Escape from New York's world is like. You got a little piece of that, but you get to see that, the government's functioning, but a lot of things aren't doing too well. It's sort of like the first Mad Max movie where technically society's there, but a lot of things are broken. And hey, start that as a fan theory. Escape from New York is in America, Mad Max is in Australia, but same world, huh? Maybe. But yeah, it does expand the world, and you do get more of Snake, and Snake is the same guy he is in the movies. They really nailed his character down to his complete stubbornness, and I really do like that. The tone is also really good. a little different given the plot that you have out-of-control children running the government, but still very Escape from New York-y, and, you know, not the wacky cartoon that the Big Trouble in Little China comics are, and that's really good as well. So yeah, overall pretty good. The plot does, like I mentioned briefly earlier, kind of ramble a bit. Here's the variant cover gallery, so you have something to look at. So yeah, the plot kind of rambles, and it's a little bit different, but I think it's best to try something new than just try to mimic what we already had. So I would say that it's really cool, and I like they tried something new, even though it is a little random and a little rambly, but, you know, Snake is back, the world is bigger, you get to see cool things, and in regards to that plot, you know, kind of, you know, going and meeting all these people like an old-timey, you know, epic, you do get where it is a pretty hardcore world where people you think are main characters can just die, and sometimes they just happen to be like, well, okay, bye, Snake, and they walk off, which is kind of true to the movies where, you know, people just die or walk away, and you're like, oh, I thought they were a much more major character there, and it was really interesting to see. I felt that was much more realistic, and much like the Big Trouble in Little China comics, where it starts up at the end of the movie and then goes for a bit and then keeps going. This also does end on a cliffhanger, and you're going to want to keep going into Volume 2 to see what happens. And it's not just a confined story. It's going to be a big, long, epic story that goes from issue to issue, and you get to see, you know, the continuing adventures of Snake Plissken. But yeah, if you like the character of Snake, if you like the Escape from New York movies, and you know, it's going to be a little different. I mean, first off, it is a comic, but I recommend checking this out. I really did like it, and I'll be back with Volume 2 after I read that. So, in a little bit, Volume 2, but overall, I definitely had a good time with this comic, and if it sounds like something you're interested in, I'd recommend you check that out. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really do help out the channel. I do a comic every week on this channel, but other than that, I do primarily horror movies, about 95% horror. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I definitely recommend sticking around checking that out. At the end of the video, there'll be a relevant playlist, which will probably be my comic books playlist. You can find the Big Trouble in Little China comics in my comic book playlist. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist at the bottom.